Hey guys, Francis here.
Hey there, Jean-Matt with Exalted Vigor Athletics, and today we're going to be talking about lifestyle dieting. We're going to delve into what is a lifestyle diet. We'll also talk about what the benefits are, how you can incorporate in your life a lifestyle diet, as well as some of the pros and cons of tracking your calories and intuitive eating through a lifestyle diet approach. So we're going to start off this video by defining what a lifestyle diet is. This is going to be more layman's terms. Lifestyle dieting is really designed to enrich your life through your nutrition and eating. There's no point in thinking about, oh, am I following a keto diet? Am I following Atkins diet? A lifestyle diet is more along the lines of what does your natural lifestyle include? So let's say if you're from South America, you'll have a lot more meats in your diet. If you're in some parts of Europe, you'll have a lot more, pasta, bread, potatoes, things of that nature. And it's really finding how that complements what you're eating throughout your nutrition, and also being able to have a well-versed macronutrient profile, so protein, carbohydrates, and fat, as well as obviously meeting your micronutrients as well. Another big thing about this lifestyle diet is that you don't want to have any nutritional deficiency. So like that's a huge issue that a lot of these diets have, is that they'll go low carb, they'll go low fat, and the lifestyle diet, that's not what it's focused on at all.
You can kind of think of it as your workout scheme. It's kind of similar to that. Like your diet's going to be different from everyone else's because you have a different life, right? So I think it's really important not to try to copy other people, and not to immediately jump on a fad diet and try to kind of solve your own, if you have a problem, or just enhance your own life in general by just being aware and monitoring what you put in your body, essentially.
Yeah. So what we'll go through now is we'll go through 3 steps that make a lifestyle diet really beneficial for you. So the first one being that a lifestyle diet is well balanced. So it's well balanced, like I was saying, in macronutrients, micronutrients. It's really void of all those nutritional deficiencies because it is complementary to your lifestyle.
Yeah, so next up on the list, less stress about food. That's super important. There's a lot of people who kind of jump on a diet, and people will say, "Oh, well, you should come with us to, I don't know, a winery or a new restaurant," and they'll say, "Oh, I can't go. Like, I absolutely cannot go because that's not on my diet." That's not really what we want here. We want you to be able to say, "Oh, you know what? For today, I'm going to go to the winery. I'm going to have some cheese, crackers, and a little bit of wine in moderation, and it'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
No harm done, no stress. You'll fall asleep at night, and you won't lay awake thinking, oh no, I ate cheese and crackers today."
So that allows you to, reward yourself with some food that you want to try. You're not depriving yourself of that way. And then also what that also adds is that for those of you that are foodies and love eating, Francis and myself included,
Absolutely.
is that you get to experiment with what you're eating. You get to try new foods, while also being able to enrich your life through those new foods, and also enjoy experiences that you'd otherwise have to take out of your life because you're so busy getting caught up with, oh, does this fit my diet? Oh, well, can I eat this? And that adds to that stress with food and adds to the complications of making that diet work for you. And then along the lines with going to a winery, so last number 3 is being able to enjoy social situations. So weddings, going out to drink with your friends.
That's huge.
Being able to actually have a social life and not be caught up and not consumed with being so adamant with being able to reach your goals. Because a lifestyle diet doesn't mean you're not accomplishing your goals. It doesn't mean that you're not working for your goals. It means that you're making your life work and you're also being able to accomplish your goals at the same time. I mean, big thing here is moderation is key.
Yeah.
Moderation with being strict, moderation with relaxing and enjoying your diet. Moderation is the big word that we want to look for in a lifestyle diet. So now we're going to break into another sect of lifestyle dieting, and that's going to be the difference between counting calories and intuitive eating. Myself personally, I've been counting my calories. I'm on a MyFitnessPal streak of 834 days. And for the past 2 years, I've been using it to help myself reach my goals, and it's also actually become a part of my lifestyle. Like when I do MyFitnessPal and when I use tracking my calories, it's really second nature to me. I don't really think about it. So I'm going to talk about pros and cons and as well as some of my experiences with counting calories. So some pros is that being quantitative allows you to really know what you're getting, knows your numbers. So I'm actually really focused on, okay, am I hitting my calories? Am I hitting my macronutrients? Okay, good. So it means I can help improve my consistency, as well as when I use my trusty food scale here. It's like $25 on Amazon. Really, you don't need to get fancy with a food scale. Um, is I use my food scale. It helps me improve one my accuracy, but it also helps to improve my efficiency. So when I'm meal prepping, when I'm putting food together, like getting a bag of chips, I don't have to pick out 11 chips out of a freaking bag because that would be horrendous. And chips are never whole. Like you'll come pieces and you have to try and put them together, and that's a nightmare. I get 28 grams, 1 ounce. And that like I pour it out in a bag, a ramekin, put it in a bowl, and I know I have 3 ounces of chips, and that's 3 servings, and I can call it a day and put that bag away. Um, on the cut side of it is when you eat out is that it becomes a bit more difficult. So if I'm going to a restaurant, if I'm going out with some friends, I'm like, okay, well, let me figure out where I can find this. Is this restaurant like in my fitness pal? And often you'll have to either find a relative same food or kind of guesstimate. So going out can be relatively difficult. Um, there's been times when I've been cutting calories and I've been so stressed about my numbers, I get caught up with, okay, well, am I actually working towards my goals? Like, is this helping? Am I being too strict? As well as sometimes what happens is if you aren't being accurate with your math, if you aren't being accurate with what you're tracking, so if you're not using food scale and you just pour out chips and you're like, oh, well, this is a handful of the serving, you can either underestimate or overestimate your serving sizes. Um, and so another thing that I've also found is what happens is math isn't everything. So when you're counting your calories, sometimes people that have been in caloric deficit for so long, their leptin levels are so low, their body is very resistant to their caloric deficit because it doesn't think it's getting the nutrition that it needs. And so it doesn't matter if you're at 2,000 calories, 1,500 calories, or 1,000 calories, your body's not going to give up any more fat because it's so resistant to any more fat loss because it doesn't want to starve. And that's really important. On a more personal note, so I was raised vegetarian. I've been vegetarian my entire life. And when I left home for college, I stayed being vegetarian because I had no real reason to change. And it's worked out with my lifestyle. I made it work with obviously getting into fitness. So being able to meet my protein requirements while being a bit more difficult, it does allow me to have to think about, okay, well, where am I going to hit these numbers? As well as with being vegetarian, often I can get really high in fat in my diet and get a lot of sugars from like fruit, from other sources that I wouldn't recognize. And what I found when I do more intuitive dieting is, on a personal note, I end up not eating enough protein. Um, I end up having too much sugar, getting too high in fat, and so for me personally, I enjoy tracking because it's become second nature and it has added to my lifestyle. It's nothing I think about drastically. It's just, oh, I pull out my fitness pal and I track.
Yeah, so kind of on the other side of the spectrum as far as lifestyle dieting is concerned, um, I'm more of an intuitive eater. So I have tracked calories for short periods of time. I cannot keep it up as long as Jermaine can. Obviously, he has a very commendable record on MyFitnessPal. Um, so the way I kind of go about this personally is I try to just let my stomach tell me, you know, when I'm full. And the best way to do that is not to scarf down your food. You want to eat it at a regular pace so that once those signals get to your brain, you haven't already eaten your dinner before you know you're full, essentially, right? So that's one thing as far as intuitive eating is concerned, and it's a bit easier with intuitive eating because you're not as obsessed over the numbers. In the past, when I did track calories, I did notice occasionally, I would weigh out my food and all this, and then my food would be gone like instantly because I was either starving or I was just obsessing over the calories, and I would eat it without even knowing what was going on. But to kind of get back from that tangent, um, yeah, portion wise, I just kind of let my stomach tell me, when I've had enough. I try not to get full, if that makes any sense. So if there's any discomfort, then I overdid it. Satisfied but not stuffed, I think, is a good way. So like if my stomach's still growling, I'll probably get, like another serving. It's definitely important to say that, with this method, you will typically, if you are following your appetite, again, you will kind of level out and your weight should probably stabilize. It should probably stay within about, I find within like 5 pounds either way is kind of where I stay if I'm intuitively eating. The strength in intuitive eating is really, you can really just find a good settling point and stay there. Whereas with tracking, you can definitely do that. It's good for that, but you also, I think it's just much more effective at moving one way or the other, whether you want to gain weight or lose weight. So just to kind of talk about the 3 keys to building a nice lifestyle diet. First one is eating what is going to help you succeed, right? So the best diet is one that you can stick to. And likewise, the best thing that you can do so that you stick to kind of a long-term plan of action is to choose foods that you enjoy. For example, obviously we need to be eating vegetables. That's just a fact, right? So let's say you don't mind broccoli, but you hate Brussels sprouts. You find a diet that tells you have to eat Brussels sprouts. That's absolutely ridiculous. You should just eat your broccoli. Next one is eating what you enjoy. So not only should it be like, okay, well, I can eat this, you should probably eat foods that you actually look forward to eating too. I think one example that I had was I think turkey bacon is something that I really enjoy, and it's actually pretty easy to fit into your diet occasionally. So number 3, listen to your body. Again, going into both how you're responding to your food in a satiety way. Are you full? Are you satisfied? Try not to be full, just try to be satisfied. And also, how you respond to a food as far as allergies are concerned, and as far as GI distress is concerned.
And then finally, recapping on counting calories versus intuitive eating. So counting calories, as you're saying, is great if you want to be very accurate, if you want to know what you're eating, know exactly the numbers behind everything. So quantitatively, counting calories is really great. Intuitive eating is really great in the sense that you're trusting yourself and you're trusting your body to regulate itself, to kind of find that middle ground with where you're happy with, okay, like, am I enjoying myself? Am I going out with my friends? Am I kind of figuring out how this diet works for me without being so strict about the numbers? So it doesn't mean that you can't obviously be relaxed and be happy and be, go socialize while you're counting calories, but you will naturally kind of go and gear towards having a bit more of that relaxation when you are intuitive eating. Big thing here is when you're really goal specific. So goal specific being that you want to lose weight, you're trying to put on some really hard muscle. Obviously, you want to make sure that you have a big enough caloric surplus that you're putting on muscle, but you're not overdoing it. So let's say if you maintain at 2,500 calories, you're not eating 4,000 calories to put on muscle. That also is known as the dirty bulk. It's just going to add a whole bunch of fat to your frame. And nobody wants to get big and get fat when they're trying to put on muscle, because then you put yourself back and then you have to lose that, and it just becomes a nightmare. Yeah. So tracking calories is really goal specific. So losing weight, putting on muscle, being very strategic about your approach. Whereas when you do a more intuitive approach, it's more along the lines of, okay, well, I'm happy with my weight. I don't really need to be as strict. And, I'd be happy, I could lose 5 pounds, I could gain 5 pounds. It really won't do much to my frame, but I just want to be relaxed about my diet. And that is the case where you want to start thinking about, okay, well, how can I incorporate intuitive eating into my diet? There's not necessarily saying that you have to do one or the other. You can be intuitive and track, and you can, be kind of loosely track, as in have a general idea of what 2,000 calories looks for you. And that way you kind of gear your body towards being successful through lifestyle dieting.